Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Satisfactory. My name's AxionEvolved, and last time we did a few things. Number one, we got our coal power plant a little bit more expanded, got it ready for steel. We upped our concrete production to allow us to build bigger and better bases, and we unlocked steel. So that's what we're going to pick up today. We need to figure out, with all this new steel, we need to build a factory. We need to get it rolling. You know, we need to start making ingots and beams and pipes and foundries and all that stuff. But I think we are going to do that in kind of a similar fashion here. We're not going to build an end game steel factory. We just need to get the process started, and we need to get those parts flowing. So we need to figure out where is some more coal. And I think at the end of the last episode, we saw that there was some over in this direction somewhere. Okay, so we're going to go check that out. All right, so right away, I see that we have 3 nodes over here, right? So it looks like we've got a normal, another normal. Okay, so 3 normal nodes all in a small area. Now, we have iron kind of littered all over the place. In fact, let me see where some of the closest iron nodes are. Because iron, ore, and coal combine to make steel, right? So we have... so we got some right there. We've got some right there. Let me go check out the purity of that node. Okay, so this is a pure iron node, and if I remember correctly, I believe that one pure node can equate to about 2 normal nodes. So while we can tap into this right now, we can't use it to its full extent just yet because of our belt speed. So what we can do, we can make some kind of structure. I don't know, maybe somewhere equidistant between the 2 of them, maybe somewhere out over here. I haven't decided on a final location for the main base yet, but it's going to be somewhere out there. And we have so many resource nodes kind of just scattered around in the desert that we're going to have to make sure that we're tall enough so that we are above all that and can still access that. And then also, once we get explosive, it looks like there's a purple power slug in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a temporary structure. I don't know, maybe like right above this rock, like at that height, kind of somewhere in this general area where we can get the coal coming in and we can get the iron. And we have a couple other iron nodes that we might be able to tap into if we need to. We also, it looks like we have a limestone right there, which will come in handy for like case industrial beams, which I think is the Mark III or Mark IV belt, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of start getting that built, and then I'll bring you guys back once we've got something to report. So something else that I did off camera, as I'm going around and encountering drop pods and this and that, these crash sites often have but they have higher tier materials. We had supercomputers, radio control units, batteries, etc. So what I did to kind of speed this coupon process up, because you can see we're not getting a lot, 1,300 points per minute, because we're using like tier 1 items. I threw all that in the resource sink. It's all stuff we're going to be able to use later, or not use, but create later. So there's not really a value to having it now per se, but I really wanted the tickets. So with that, we got 42 tickets, and I think I'm going to go on a little shopping spree to really help us out with base design and some utility. All right, so 48 tickets to spend. So we need to, not enough to get everything, but enough that we can kind of prioritize. So number 1, I want this, right? So that's 3, 6, 8, 14, 16. Okay, so 16 there. We for sure want that. So 21. Was that 26? I guess I could do Mark 1, so that's 30. And then for walls, we got to be a little bit more selective, at least in the early game. Oh, as much as I want the factory cart, we cannot afford it right now. Maybe I'll remove... No, I want the quarter pipes and everything too. Maybe I'll remove the Mark 1 power poles, right? So we have 12 left. And if we go back to walls, I think I'm going to be doing... I don't know which walls I want. We have, 12? So I guess I could get both, hypothetically, but I want windows. And I can't get windows in anything else, right? And there's not... I'm not... I don't have time for statues yet. 1,000 tickets. That would take forever. I definitely want to get all of these at some point when we build our main base, but we just don't have it yet, you know. Foundations, yes. Attachments, we got some of the important ones. Maybe we'll just go with these metal conveyor walls for now. What does that put our card at? 39. So we have 3 left. So maybe I can actually get, or maybe I should just, you know what? I'll just save it and we'll get all that. So now, honestly, the biggest one I'm excited for is the, where are they? Foundations. All of the ramps. Where are the ramps? All of these double ramps. They make building ramps to and from so much easier. Because if you look at how I had to build ramps up to this point, you have to basically, because they don't have a backing, right? You have to put these extra foundations under everything so that the next ramp down has somewhere to connect to. With these double ramps, you don't have to worry about that. It makes going up and down super simple. And when we start getting into trains and stuff like that, it's going to make making the train routes so much easier. But anyway, back to the steel base. So this is a great example. So here's kind of the temporary platform, or the first base platform for the steel production factory, right? So in order to make ramps up and down normally, I'd have to put a ramp and then a foundation under and connect the ramp. But if I just go to the ramps now, right? If I go to foundations and go to the ramps, I guess we can make it a little bit more steep if we want. Now let's just do this one. It'll be fine, right? So you just put the ramp on, and then you literally just click, click, click. And just like that, you've got a ramp. Like, you can get just right up into the base easy. It took, 2 seconds to get up there? This is why the ramps are kind of a game changer when it comes to building bases and stuff. All right, so now that we're up here, we're right here by all the coal. And I discovered another couple things while running around. That is a pure iron node right there. And I haven't checked that one, but the other pure iron node was right over there. So we're pretty close to both. And again, I got that limestone, I got a copper. You can see there's so many little deposits out there. So I want to, I'm guessing this one wouldn't be, I mean, it's fairly close, right? All we're going to do is drop down an elevator, right? Down here to pick it up, or maybe right here. We'll just have the conveyor belts run on the ground and come up this way. And then we'll bring the coal up over here. So I'll probably put miners down on the coal, but I'll only take as much coal as I can reliably process while still planning to be able to take in all of the coal when we kind of ramp this up, when we get a little bit better belts, because this is going to be our early to mid game steel, which means we need to maximize how much we're going to be able to get out of this. And if that's, power sharding and getting 2 pure nodes or whatever, then that's what we're going to have to do. But eventually, I'd be tearing this whole thing down and moving everything into the main mega base that's going to be somewhere over here. I don't know, maybe I'll even do it up kind of like interspersed within there. I don't know. I want some like cool visuals, but I still want it to be functional enough that we don't have to like make weird sacrifices to get around corners and do all that kind of stuff. So let me go ahead and start running stuff, and then when we got that stuff up here and ready to process, I will bring you guys back. All right, so now that we have our resources up here, right now we're getting 120 a minute from this pure iron node, and we're getting 3 lines of 60, so we'll probably only tap into 2 of them. See, they're coming up here. But we got to see, I don't know how much the foundry takes. So let's see what kind of usage rates we're looking at here. So for steel ingots, it's 3 and 3, so 45 per minute. So that does not divide evenly into 120. So what I might do is actually underclock this to take, or to output 40 per minute. That way it'll take 40 of each and we can get 3 foundries going. Okay, so I think I'm going to do just some basic, like a little foundry array over here. And like I said, this is only to get us up to where we can start producing some steel items because we're gonna need a lot more. Really our bottleneck right here is belts. Belts and power, right? We don't have really enough power to just go crazy, and we don't have the belt speed to really properly take advantage. So let's set our rates here. Now, I guess I could hypothetically, I have that other pure iron node over here, right about there, right? So I could hypothetically run that over and have two 120 lines and then overclock 2 of these and double this up to 6. I just don't know if that would be... Let's see how this runs for the time being, and then we'll kind of go from there. Alright, so now we just need to hook these lines up, and everything should be getting distributed at least, and then we'll just turn the power on. And if you've on the off chance that you've never seen this kind of setup, this is basically just 2 splitters that are stacked up, and it's an overflow method for something with 2 inputs. So you see that I've got all the iron ore coming on the bottom, and I have splitters on the outside in case we expand out that way for whatever reason. And then we got the coal going on top, and it's just splitting down to the belts just like anything else. So that's how that works. So let's run some power real quick. All right, now everything's moving and grooving. We've got some steel ingots being produced, but that doesn't quite get us to where we need to go. Now we're going to be producing, I think, 120 steel ingots per minute, right? So we can do something, like I said, very temporary. We're going to throw a merger down right here in the middle. I want to line it up with that output, right? And then I'll use Mark 1 belts to get to this merger because what? That's not lined up. Okay, so then we're just going to use some Mark 1 belts because we're only outputting at about 40 ingots per minute, right? So we'll just line everything right up there. And we're going to essentially remake a 120 line of ingots. And for now, while I'm planning, I'll just have this go into a storage bin. One big boy, small boy storage container. And that'll be at 120. Boom. So we should start to see, there we go, steel ingots coming out. Perfect. Okay. So now let's take a look at, I think constructors can make something. Let's see. Okay, so here we can make steel beams and steel pipes, and both of them take steel ingots. So steel beams take 60 per minute, and then steel pipe, let's see, takes 30 per minute. So we can do 2 sets of steel pipes and 1 set of steel beams per 3 smelters. So let's just get that set up real quick, something really easy. So we'll do, I guess this one will be a, we'll have something come straight out lined up with that, right? So this one can be steel beams, and then we'll do 2 for steel pipes. This is like the steel version of steel plates and steel rods or iron rods. Okay, and then from here we can just throw a splitter, and ideally that should be a 1-to-1 throughput. Like we should have no kind of lag on that one. So let's get everything powered up and see what we got. All right, now it looks like we got the very basics of steel going. So now we just need to have these go into a couple storage containers, and we'll pretty much have our steel kind of just rocking and rolling from a very basic sense, at least. All right, we're just going to hook these up together. Make sure everything's nice and straight. And we should have some steel pipes coming out. Boom, steel pipes, and we'll just hook you straight up. And then I made a series of these just so I can kind of set it and forget it and come back when we have a whole bunch of them. So that'll be nice. All right, so now we got steel beams, we got steel pipes, we got steel moving and grooving and flowing. Quick, like, if we're going to talk about short range upgrades, right? So like I said, the number one limitation we have right now is belt speed, which is kind of the bottleneck there. But if we were to, again, tap into that node, we could essentially get we can essentially double this production, right? We can mirror this setup and do the exact same thing another time and really just double output everything, which might be something we do because it's really not that difficult. It really just entails running a miner and a belt probably under here to come up on this side. You know, maybe come out here and then we can expand out this way, which is kind of why I have this set up this way. Now, things get a lot different if we have Mark III, Mark IV belts, because then we can upgrade both the miner quality, get to Mark IIs, and overclock. And then we'd literally only be limited by our belt speed. But the other limitation is our power. But how are we looking on the power? So the nice little bit of headroom we got from the expanded coal plant is why we can afford to do this from a power perspective. So let's go see what's next on the tier list. Now, if we have a look at tiers 3 and 4, which is where we're at now, we have Vehicular Transport, which I don't think I'm going to get into trucks and tractors. I'll unlock it just to have it, but trucks, they're a little too inefficient for what I like to do. I'd rather, use belts until I can upgrade to trains, because I've never played this game to the point where I've used trains, and they look so fun, and I can't wait to get into that and figure out how to do it. But if we start looking at tier 4 is where things start to get just amazing. Number 1, advanced steel production, right? So we're already making this. We're making steel pipes. I mean, we could hypothetically unlock this like in the very short-term future. And what does that give us? A couple big things. Encased industrial beams, which I think essentially is just steel and concrete. Mark II miners, which on a normal node, you can see right here, 120 resources per minute. I think on a pure node, it's like it's double 240, right? So there's a huge amount of increased production that we can get just out of regular nodes, right? But then if we look over here, logistics Mark III, huge things here. Conveyor belt Mark IIIs, these are 270 lines. That means that we can overclock some of our stuff and get way more. These compared or in conjunction with Mark II miners is really what's going to let us boost up our productivity, because if I have a 240 line coming from a Mark II miner on a pure node, that's double the amount of stuff on one belt line. It's almost like exponential growth. It's amazing. And then industrial storage containers are huge. We're going to want a ton of these to store all the stuff, because at some point we're going to want to create like a little bank, like a little vault of everything we produce, being able to grab it as we need it. So that'll be not, like a storage room almost. Improved melee combat. I'm mostly just interested, I can actually do this right now. An arm slot and extra inventory slots. Let me go get the stuff for this. And I just came to check on the resource sink while I'm getting all the stuff, and we haven't even got close to another ticket. We're making such little points. If our steel starts to kind of back up, I might consider putting another sink over there just so that it's constantly going. But we're not quite there yet. But we are able to throw all this stuff in, all the stuff we need here. And now we can unlock the bang stick. Well, I guess it's not the bang stick. I guess that'd be the rifle, but now we can smack some things. So what does that actually take to make? Zeno Basher. Here we go. What do you need? 2. Well, I just so happen to have an extra one. Okay, so let me unequip the one I have, and let's make a stick here. I need more wire. All right, and now we wait for 30 million seconds while this thing crafts. But now we've got the Zeno Basher. This thing's honestly a lot of fun. It looks really cool. It's like a little lightsaber, except I don't know. I guess it is electrified. Yeah, it's got that that electric little current running through. But this will let us do a ton more damage to any enemies. When I don't decide to blap them with the rebar gun, I want to make it a priority. We got to get pretty deep down in the sulfur tree. We don't have some of this stuff. Like, we don't have the ability to make circuit boards. I have a couple of heavy modular frames, but we don't have circuit boards, so I can't quite make the rifle. And then the cartridges, we don't have rubber. I could probably manually craft the black powder. It would be really crappy and it would take a long time, but I could do it. But I don't. I mean, unless I find some rubber on some crash sites, we're just not there yet. And another thing I want to look into, I've collected a couple hard drives, which, if you don't know, these contain alternate recipes for the items in the game, and there's some pretty good alternate recipes that I've seen before. I haven't done any of these yet. I think I might dedicate an episode to kind of running around and grabbing these and analyzing and just kind of seeing like what we can come up with, because having the flexibility to kind of create things using multiple recipes is how you're going to get kind of the most efficient use of your space in a base. So that's definitely something we're going to look into. But for now, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and watching the episode. If you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not subscribed, hit that button down below. Click the bell. That way you know every time I post a new video. And we'll see you guys in the next one.